In this lesson, we will learn how to do form validations and display appropriate error messages. So first, what do we mean by form validation? It means that all the fields should be as we want them to be. So if some fields are required, they have some validations, then we should be able to perform them and display appropriate error messages. So how do we do it? We will follow a three-step process. Suppose there is a component in which the form has been created. So we will define a JSON for errors in the state. We will validate the form fields and put the error message corresponding to each field in the errors JSON. And then finally, we will display the corresponding error message with each field. So if there is an error message, we will display it. Otherwise, we will not display it. So this kind of a behavior you would have seen in a lot of forms that we fill. And let us now see how do we implement it. So the way to implement it is we will just look at an exercise and try and do that. So an app takes the details of a person and displays them in a table. The details are entered in a form with three fields: name, age, and country. Name and age would be text fields, and country is a drop down. When the submit button is clicked, validate the form. So we want to validate it when the submit button is clicked. Name and age should not be empty, so those text fields should not be empty, and country should have also been selected. Also, if there are any errors, we would want to display them below the fields and we would want to stop the action of the submit. So this is the exercise we want to do. So using the codes that we have written in the previous lessons, so this is how the initial app looks like. So we are using the same simple form and the main component that we have created earlier. So we have these two persons and we can say add a new person. And right now there are no validations. So if I click on submit, you can see an empty name, an empty age, and an empty country has been formed. So what we want to do is to prevent such a thing and ensure that all these fields get validated when the submit button is clicked. And if there is no error, then the submit action goes through. Otherwise, here we display those error messages below those fields. So how do we do that? So here we have the code for the simple form. So this is as per the code we have written. So it has these three fields. So it has an input field for name, it has an input field for age, and then it has a drop down for country. In its state, it has one which is linked to the props, the person, and it has the list of the countries. So the first step, as we defined, let's define the errors JSON. So let us say errors is a JSON and it's an empty JSON. Next, what do we want to do? What we want to do is that when the submit button is clicked, we want to validate all these fields. So let us say here we say let errors is equal to this dot validate all the fields. So let's call this function here. So let's define this function, validate all Now, what is the purpose of this function? It would validate all the fields. So what are the three fields? The name, age, and country in the state. So let's deconstruct them. Name, age, country, this dot state dot person. Now we can check for all of them and see if they are valid or not. So we can say if not name, which means name is falsy, which means name is an empty string. Then what can we say? We can say, let's first define let errors is an empty JSON. So we can say errors dot name is equal to name must be entered. Similarly, we can check for age. If not age, so age is again a string here. So if not age, which means that age is an empty string, errors dot age is equal to age must be entered. Note that in both these cases, in the errors JSON, we are using the same field name dot name dot age. Why are we doing it? Because it makes us easier to handle the error. So we know which field this error is corresponding to. Similarly, we can say if not country, which means if the country has not been selected, errors dot country must be selected. So this is our error, and let us return errors. So validate all will give us all the errors in this JSON. So now once we have the errors, we need to check whether this is an empty JSON or it has any error messages. So one standard way for doing it is, let's check for is valid errors. Let's define a function. This dot is valid errors. And what this will do is it will return true or false depending upon whether there is any error message in it or not. So let's define this function is valid. It takes an errors as input. And what will it do? It will return us either true or false. So now how do we do that? So typically errors would have keys with non-empty strings as values. So it would have keys. So if you look at the errors object here, it would have errors.name, errors.age, or errors.country if any of them were there. So we would check first whether there are any keys and whether any of those keys would have empty strings, non-empty strings. We could have checked for whether those keys exist, but we will just make a more generic one, which will be useful to us later. So how do we get keys? So we can say let keys is equal to object dot keys with the name of the JSON. So this will give us all the keys in an array. So this will give us keys in an array. Now from this array, we can find out the number of non-empty strings as values. So we can just use reduce. We can just say keys dot reduce accumulated comma current goes to. Now we can just find out errors current. Why do we say errors current? Because current will be the name of the key. So if errors current is truthy, it means it's a non-empty string. We will just return accumulated plus 1. Otherwise, we will return accumulated. So we are counting the number of non-empty string values in this JSON, and we will initialize it with 0. Initially, it's 0. So let count is equal to this. Now we can just return when will it be valid? When count is 0. So let us just return count is equal to 0. So now if count is 0 means that none of the error messages were set in this JSON and we have returned it. So now we can just check if this dot valid errors So now if it is valid, we will just go ahead and submit the props. Otherwise, what should we do? Otherwise, we want to display the error messages. So let's go ahead and set this errors in the state. So we will follow the standard process. Let s1 is equal to this dot state, s1 dot errors is equal to errors, and this dot set state s1. So our state would get updated. So what are we doing? If the form was valid, then we will just go ahead and do the normal execution props dot on submit. So it will just do that. And if we found that the form was invalid, if we found errors, we have just set it in the state. So now in the state, the errors JSON will have those error messages. So we can just go ahead and now display them in the form. So let us destructure the errors object. Once we have destructured the errors object, let's just display it. Here we can say errors.name. Now, if errors.name is truthy, which means either the field exists and is non empty string. So that is what truthy would mean. If it does not exist, it will give us a null, which is falsy. And if it exists and is an empty string, again, it will give us a false, which is falsy. So if this is truthy, what do we need to do? We need to display a span, say class name is equal to text danger. And what is the message we want to show? We will show the same message, errors dot name. That was the message we had put in, and we will display it. And if it is falsy, we do not want to display anything. Let us just test it for the errors dot name first, and let us see what do we get. So now if I go and click on add new person and click submit, we get an error message, name must be entered, and this form did not submit. So this seems to be working fine. Let's do it for the others. So I'll just copy this part, put it for age also. So here we would say errors.age. So here it becomes easier for us to handle it. So when we are doing it for the field age, we are just displaying its errors. So it's much easier if we keep this naming convention within the fields of the errors. Let's do it for our country. So errors dot country, and the error message we want to display is this. Let's go ahead and test it. If I click on submit, I get an error. Name must be entered, age must be entered, country must be selected. Let me select the country, say India. So now this error message has gone. Let me enter the age, say 25. This error message has gone. But if I delete it, will I get the error message back? If I click on submit, yes. Let's enter the name, say Edwards. Now, if I click on submit, we can see that because the form was valid, the submit worked, and we have gotten all these values to work. So, this is the basic form of validation that we have implemented here. The next exercise says add more validations to the form. Name should have at least 5 characters. Age should be between 21 and 75. Each field should display appropriate error messages depending on the error. So we have shown error messages earlier that name must be entered. So we would show a different message if the name has not been entered, and a different message if the name has been entered but it has less than 5 characters. Same we should do with the age. So there are two approaches we can take here. Either in this if condition we could put it, Or we could create a function, say validate name, and validate all of them and put it back. So let's just take the second approach. And if you have more complex validations, typically it's better to build those functions and use it. So let us say errors dot name is equal to this dot validate name, and we would pass that parameter. So we need to implement this function validate name. Let's implement it. It takes a name as parameter. And what would it do? We can say not name. So if name is falsy, which means not name is truthy, then what should we return? Name must be entered, which was our earlier error message. And if name is truthy, then let's check name dot length less than 5. Then what should we return? Minimum, let's say name should have minimum 5 characters, else it's an empty string. So this is what we can return in this case. So this becomes our validate name function. So note, in this case, this will always return a string. So the JSON we will create here, errors.name, would have a value. Either it would have an empty string or it would have some text in it. So which is why in our isValid function, we had counted the number of values which had some text in them. So that would work more generically. Similarly, we can now define another function, errors.age is equal to this dot validate age, and we pass it the parameter age. Let's define this function. So I will just copy this. So we need to define a function validate age, which takes a age as parameter. So if not age, then age must be entered. Otherwise, what do we need to do? We need to say age less than 21 or age greater than 75. Then we should give the error message, age should be between 21 and 75. Otherwise, it's an empty string. So we have validated both of them. Similarly, let's do for country. So errors dot country is equal to this dot validate country and pass it the country. Let's write the function validate country. It takes a country as the input, and what does it return? We can just take the code from here. Let's cut it. So if not country, then it returns this error message. Otherwise, it returns an empty string. So this is our validate country. So now in this case, we would have implemented all our validations. So this should work fine. Let's go ahead and test it. So if I click on submit, we get that error message. Let me put in age as 5. So we get the error message, age should be between 21 and 75. Let's make it 50. And this is working fine. Let's enter a name. Let's say we enter Bob. So we get the error message, name should have minimum 5 characters. Let's say we make it Bobby. So the error message has gone, and let's select Canada, and we get that to work. So here we validated the name for a couple of different validations, same for age. And using this approach, we can keep on building as many validations we need for any field. Let's look at the next exercise. Modify the previous form to disable the submit button if any of the fields is invalid. So this is a common functionality we have seen, that if any field is invalid, then you just can't click on the submit button. The submit button becomes disabled. And if all the fields are valid and have been filled, then only the submit button is enabled. So let's see how to do that. So the way to do it would be that here in the submit button, we implement the disabled is equal to, and say is form valid. And if the valid returns a true, so disabled would be, if the form is invalid, then we need to disable it. So this is what we need to do. So now we need to implement this function is form valid. So let us implement the function is form valid. And what would it need to do? So here again, what we can do is we can just call validate all and get the errors, and then check whether the form is valid or not. So let's do that. So we can just say let errors is equal to this dot validate all, and we can return it this dot is valid errors. So it would return that whether the form is valid or not. So this should work. Let's go ahead and test it. So here let's click on add new person, and we can see that the submit button is disabled. Let's see if I select the country. No. If I enter age 5, enter a name, say Ed, let's make it at least 5 characters. No. Let's make the age 50. And the moment I made the age 50, you can see that the submit button got enabled. If I delete the age or anything, you can see that the submit button becomes disabled. So this is exactly the kind of functionality we wanted. Let's look at the next exercise. Modify the previous form to check the validity of any field that loses focus. So whenever the user moves out of any field or that field loses focus, we want to validate that field and display an appropriate error message. So which event is created when a field loses focus? We have the on blur. So let us define a handler for this, and let's say this dot handle validate. So whenever the field loses focus, this function will be called handle validate. Let's do it for the other fields also, for the age and for the drop down. Let us go ahead and define this function handle validate. So handle validate is equal to, it gets the event, and what should we do within it? So it is important that we validate only the field for the event, only the field which the event has been fired for. Why is this important? Otherwise, the moment one field loses focus, we would validate all those fields and error messages would come down below every field, although the user has still not filled them. So the objective of this is that when the user has filled a field, we want to prompt that user on that field or on the fields that the user has entered to some extent. So how do we do that? So we will just destructure the event. So we can just say current target, and typically we give it the alias input is equal to e. Now we need to validate whether this field has the correct value. So we can just use a switch input dot name. So depending upon the name, we can say case name. If the case is name, then we will just get the error. So let us update our errors also. So we can just say let s1 is equal to this dot state. So if case is equal to name, s1 dot errors dot name is equal to this dot validate name. So we will get the error here, and in a switch we need to put the break. Similarly, let's validate the age. So if the input dot name is age, then s1 dot errors dot age is this dot validate age, and we validate the country. So s1 dot errors dot country is this dot validate country, and we'll just provide our default case, which is break. So at the end of it, we would have validated that field on which this event was fired, and we would have set the error message for it. So we can just say this dot set state s1. So we can now just update the state. Notice, because it was a blur event, the value of any field would have not changed in this event. So we're not changing the value of person here. Let's go ahead and test it. So let's test it. So now if I click on add new person, if I click on the name and click outside, we get name must be entered. Let's enter the name, say Edwards. And now if I click outside, I'm still getting an error message. So there is some problem. Let's go ahead and check it. So this was our handle validate. So s1.errors.name is this dot handle validate name. Now validate name took the name as a parameter, so we should have provided that. So the name here could be the value of that. So we could have just provided it as input dot value. So we did not do that, which is why this error is coming. Let's correct it. Let's test it again. Name must be entered. Name must have minimum 5 characters. And the error messages goes. So I just get an error message here. If I change it again, and when it loses focus, I get that. So same here for the country. Country must be selected. Let's select a field, and the moment I click out of it, the moment it loses focus, we get that. And the submit also works properly. So this is how we can do it. If we wanted, for example, that this should happen whenever the change is happening, we could have also put it in our handle change. We could have also said here handle this dot handle validate t. We could have called it, which means with every change, the field would get validated. So what would be the impact of it? We can check it here. So now, as I am typing, I get that error message. So that's the difference. In that case, when we lost focus, we did not get it. So here, as we type, we get it. So this is another very common way of validation that you can implement. While the user is typing, you get prompted about all the error messages so that the user is prompted on that. And the reason for using in our handle validate the input is because in such a scenario, the state would have not the valid field because the set state has still not happened. So we are taking the values from the input, which is why we are taking the input dot value. So this is the standard ways of handling form validations and displaying error messages.